Hello students. Earlier we were covering the chapter on respiration and in the coming next week we will be solving a few questions and a little bit remaining portion from respiration. We are now moving on to the next chapter on the economic importance of bacteria and fungi. Okay. So what is the economic importance of bacteria and fungi? So we will be discussing about this in this present chapter. In this session, the unit or rather the chapter on the five kingdom classification is not included. Therefore, we will be spending a little bit more time on understanding the basics of what is bacteria. Okay, what are the general characteristics of a bacterial cell? So, where are bacteria found? Bacteria are ubiquitous. That is, they are found everywhere. Or they are found in the soil, in the water, inside us, in the human body, on the surface of our skin, underwater. Therefore, bacteria can be found in diverse kind of habitats or diverse kinds of places on earth. When we talk about the economic importance of bacteria, it not only means the useful ones but also the ones that can cause a disease, that can be economically harmful also. Okay, so first we realize that bacteria are ubiquitous, that is, they are found almost different diverse places on the planet. And how do they interact? How are they beneficial or how do they cause harm? That's what we will be looking in this chapter. First, what is the size of a typical bacterial cell? Now, this is an example where we are saying this is a bacillus bacteria. We will be looking at what are the different shapes in the next slide. Now, here you can see that across the length the bacteria is zero point 0.5 micrometers. Okay, so micrometers means into 10 to the power of minus 6 meter. Okay, it is so small. So when you are 1 followed by 6 zeros, okay, that many times smaller than 1 meter is the length of a bacterial cell, and the diameter or rather the cross section here will be say around 0.2 micrometers. Okay, so this is the general size of a typical bacteria, and this is much larger than a virus. So here for example, coronavirus. Okay, coronavirus, the diameter is 0.1 micrometer, and here the diameter is zero point 0.2 micrometers. Therefore, when we compare this with a eukaryotic cell, okay, you have already studied about prokaryotes and eukaryotes in chapter in the second chapter. So here a red blood cell, the RBC cell, when you are comparing with the bacteria, it's almost 7 microns. That is how many times? Almost 10 to 15 times larger than a bacterial cell. Okay, so the size of the bacteria, now you are able to get a general idea how big it is compared to a eukaryotic, typical eukaryotic cell like RBC, and how larger it is compared to a virus. Next, we look at what is the shape of the bacterial cell. Okay, bacteria are having diverse shapes. Some of the common shapes we will be discussing here. One is cocci. Okay, cocci is nothing but when the shape is spherical. Okay, like this kind of spheres. Okay, they are all in the form of spheres. This is Diplococcus. It is a dividing. Okay, because it is dividing, it doesn't really look like a sphere. Okay, it is in a dividing state. Therefore, cocci we call it when the bacterial shape is spherical. Okay, we call it bacilli. Okay, bacilli when it is rod shaped, like this rod shaped. We call it spirilla. Okay, you know spirilla, spiral shape, like spiral binding, spiral shape. So when it is spiral or twisted, we call the bacteria shape as spirilla bacteria. Okay, vibrio is comma shaped. Okay, so it looks almost like a comma shape, like this. So here you can see this is, starts like this, is inverted comma here. So these are the four basic types of shapes in bacteria that we will be discussing. In cocci, there are diplococci. Diplo means di. You see here, di means two. Okay, two, diploid. So they are fused. They do not separate. So individual, the bacteria after dividing, they may be as a single unit, or if they remain attached. Okay, there are two of them are attached, we call them as the diplococci. If they're all attached in a way that it looks like a cluster, then we call it as the staphylococci. Look at when the cells divide and they remain attached in a chain like fashion. Okay, then what do we call streptococci? Okay, it is called streptococci. Okay, so we have diplo, that means two cells are joined together. Staphylo is like a cluster, and strepto is a chain. Okay, next, bacilli, these are rod shaped. Okay, so for example, uh, most of the what we see soil bacteria, they are like bacillus, or what we see in our curd, lactobacillus. Okay, we say that is the lactobacillus. Lacto means milk sugar. Lactose is converted using the bacillus bacteria. Okay, spirilla. So we have different bacteria which are in this way. Okay, they appear like in spiral, and they also move in a very interesting spiral like motion. Vibrio, in vibrio, these are like comma shaped. For example, it is a vibrio cholera. Okay, cholera, you know, cholerae. So vibrio cholerae, we find is caused the cholera disease. Okay, so this is about the different common shapes in bacteria. Next, coming to the structure of bacteria. Now this is very important, because we need to know what is the difference between prokaryote and eukaryote. Okay, prokaryote, as you may have already in your chapter 2, you must have learned that prokaryotes means primitive. Pro means primitive, karyotic means nucleus, so primitive nucleus. So how is a prokaryotic bacterial cell different from eukaryotic cell? Here you can see the nucleus. Okay, the nucleus, whether it is enclosed by any membrane, there is no membrane. Therefore, what do we call this? We do not call it as the nucleus, we call it as the nucleoid. What do we call it as? NuCleoid, nucleoid, not a nucleus, because it is not a true nucleus. It is not covered by a plasma membrane. Okay, that is the most important difference. Okay, most important difference between a prokaryotic bacterial cell and a eukaryotic cell. Next, we see that it is covered by a capsule. Okay, it is covered by a capsule. So what is the function of the capsule? It is a slimy layer. Okay, slimy layer that is covering the cell. It has a protective function. Okay, and then there is the cell wall. Okay, cell wall, and the cell wall in bacteria is made up of peptidoglycan. Peptidoglycan. And in plants, you remember that the cell wall is made up of cellulose. Okay, that is a very important difference between the plant cell wall and bacterial cell wall. Plasma membrane is present. Okay, cytoplasm, in which all the different components of the cell are suspended. There are the ribosomes for the synthesis of proteins, and there are special DNA structures called plasmids. Plasmids. Okay, so what is the function of plasmids? Plasmids are extra chromosomal DNA. Correct? So this is the chromosomal DNA and this is the extra chromosomal DNA. You see, it is not attached with the chromosomal DNA. Okay, and what is its function? Its function is it gives special properties to the bacteria. For example, certain bacteria are able to withstand, they have resistance to different antibiotics. So the doctor prescribes some antibiotic, but certain bacteria are able to escape that. That resistance to certain antibiotics is also included by these plasmid genes. Okay. There are also certain structures called flagellum. Okay, these are whip-like structures. Whip means okay something like this, which is a whip. So people used to whip the horse or the camel and all. Okay, so like a whip. So the flagella is for locomotion. It is for movement. Most of the bacteria, they do not have the flagella. Okay, few bacteria they have flagella for movement. So these are certain very important basic aspects of a bacterial cell. Next, we move on to another aspect of the bacteria, which is the nutrition. Okay, nutrition in bacteria. As we have seen that bacteria is present in different habitats. To survive in such different habitats, the bacteria also has a different types of nutritions, mode of nutrition. So there are two basic types of nutrition in modes in bacteria. One is hetero heterotrophic, other is autotrophic. Trophic means it is a mode of nutrition. Okay, trophic means mode of nutrition. If the mode of nutrition is a hetero, means it is getting its nutrition from different types of food material, different types of matter. Okay, it is heterotrophic. Autotrophic means auto, self, it is able to prepare its own food. Okay, now under heterotrophic there are two types: sapro, okay, saprotrophic, and other is parasitic. Most of you will be able to guess what is parasitic. Parasitic means it is a parasite. It will live on a living host. Okay, living host. It will infect a living host. It will cause a disease, or it may not cause a serious disease also, but it will infect a host and it will derive the nutrition from the host. So then it is a parasite. Saprotrophic means it will depend upon dead and decaying matter for food. Under autotrophic, there are two types: phototropic, chemotropic. Phototropic, as you can guess very easily, they depend upon light. Okay, here in most of the green plants we see that they are photosynthetic. Okay, so if they are depending on light, they are photosynthetic, but if they are deriving their nutrition from chemicals, then they are chemotropic. Okay, we will be looking at certain examples further in the chapter. Next, another aspect of bacteria is the respiration in bacteria. Okay, so generally you may have seen that certain organisms are, as in your previous chapter you have seen that there are the two types: aerobic, anaerobic. Correct? Aerobic means they require oxygen, for their life process, for generation of energy. Anaerobic, they don't need oxygen. Okay, they don't need oxygen. What happens if an anaerobic bacteria is exposed to oxygen? Will it die? Not necessary. There are obligate and facultative. Okay, this is not important for you to remember, but you can understand the basic concept here, that anaerobic bacteria, when they are exposed to oxygen, they need not always die. If it is a obligate bacteria, that means it needs the deficiency of oxygen. If it gets oxygen, it will die. Facultative means sometimes it needs less oxygen or no oxygen, but even if oxygen is available, there is no problem. It will survive. It will do its life process. Okay, they are facultative. Okay, so most of the aspects of respiration are covered in your previous chapter, and a few things that are there ma'am will be covering in the next week. Next very important aspect of bacteria is their reproduction. How do the bacteria reproduce? There are two methods of reproduction in bacteria: asexual and sexual. Okay, asexual means what? There is no differentiation of the sex in the bacteria. Okay, in sexual reproduction there will be a male and a female partner. Now here in the asexual, what is happening? This is like a typical diagrammatic representation of a bacteria in which there is a chromosome. Okay, and what is happening? The DNA is replicating, that is, it is making a double copy of itself. Next, what is happening? The cell is dividing, and then each copy of the DNA is equally distributed between the daughter bacteria. And finally, the two daughter bacterial cells are separating from each other. Okay, so this is a typical asexual method of reproduction, which is called fission. Okay, it is called fission. So here, since two daughter cells are produced, okay, so you can say it is binary. Okay, you can say it is binary fission. It is a binary fission. So here in the bottom you can see a microscopic image. The DNA is being separated between these two daughter cells. Okay, and very interesting thing about the binary fission, this kind of asexual reproduction in bacteria, is that they grow very fast. Okay, for example, at home you must be seeing the mom prepares the curd from the milk. Okay, so at night very little amount of inoculum or the bacteria you are putting from your old curd into the milk, and by next morning it is prepared, it's completed. So what is happening in that few hours, the bacteria divides very rapidly. Okay, it divides very rapidly to produce millions and billions of copies of itself. Okay, so that is very rapid method of reproduction. On the other hand, the sexual reproduction is very slow. Okay, is very slow, and the purpose here is not to make just the copies, keep on making the copies, but it is to make new characters. Okay, to make new characters by mixing of the genes. So what is happening, you can see here, there are the two parental. So here, since this bacterial cell is donating its DNA, we say that it is the male, and since this bacterial cell is accepting the DNA, we say it is the female. Okay, so what is going from the male to the female? Chromosomal DNA? No, the plasmid is transferred. This is very important point. What is transferred? The plasmid. You see the circular plasmid, this is getting transferred from one cell to the another cell. Okay, and there is a small bridge like structure. So under the microscope it looks like this. Okay, so this supposing is the male, so it will be transferring its DNA, it will be transferring its DNA to the another bacterial cell. Okay, this is the reception, it is receiving this DNA. Okay, so that is how the sexual reproduction takes place in bacteria. There is another method by which the bacteria are able to survive under extreme conditions. Okay, so they may be a deficiency of food. Then what happens, most of the bacteria, they produce what we say spores. What do they produce? They produce spores. This particular image that we are seeing is the oldest bacteria ever found on earth. Okay, so here like you can see this round structure within this rod like structure. Okay, what does it look like? It looks like a club, like we say in Hindi gada. Okay, Hanuman gada or something like that. So it is called a club. Okay, and the round structure that we are seeing is not the nucleus here, it is the spore. So the spore is present within the cell. Okay, so this method is not a method of reproduction. Why? Because the old cell, this parental cell, it dies immediately, producing another cell within itself. Okay, so it is more like a normal vegetative cell division. Okay, it just the cells are divided. So what is the speciality of the spores? The spores are able to survive at very high temperatures. Okay, they are able to survive at very high temperatures or even very low temperatures. They are able to withstand different chemicals. Okay, and even if there is very less water, okay, then also it is able to survive. Therefore for millions of years also the spores can survive. What we are seeing here is the bacteria that causes tetanus, right? Most of you know what is a tetanus, right? So when you are getting a cut by a rusted iron or if it is getting infected with some soil debris, the cut or wound is getting infected with a lot of soil material, then these kind of bacteria which look like a club, what they can cause the disease, they can cause tetanus. Okay, so that is also they have the spores. Okay, so these are the different aspects of bacteria that we are covered in this today's video. In the coming lecture, we will be looking into the useful role of bacteria in medicine. Okay,